Hi, it's Taylor. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I'm here in the heart of KL today to introduce you to the cutest dog in the world and tell you her story on how she got to Malaysia, and her owner too. You want to hear about it? Stay tuned. Welcome back. Hi. Here's Ruby, the cutest dog in the world. We'll have plenty of more footage of her later. But for now, this is Lee, and he's going to tell us how he got to Malaysia with his dog. So Lee, can you tell us briefly how you decided to move to Malaysia?
Oh, that's a long story short. Probably 2019. I got the MM2H, Malaysia, my second home. Then, of course, COVID came along, and that put everything on hold. So this year, we decided that we were going to retire. I'd lived in California for 23 years, working in healthcare, and it was just time to kind of hang up my scrubs and relax a little bit and live life a little bit more to the full. So unfortunately, it wasn't possible to stay in California because of expense and lack of medical coverage if you're not working. So we decided to move to Malaysia, which we'd visited many times over the past 10 years, visiting friends and people that we know here. So last July, I was here and saw this apartment and decided to make the go and to move. So we moved here in March of this year, so I've been here 2 months already.
That's great. So you got your MM2H before you moved here?
Yeah, I got MM2H almost probably 3 years ago.
So you had the old scheme?
We had the old scheme, which was a lot easier and easier to obtain, especially the financial requirement is not like it is now. And as far as I'm aware, the old scheme is grandfathered in, so when you renew your MM2H in 10 years' time,
that's how I understand it.
It's still the same one that you applied for originally.
Because mine's up for renewal next year.
Oh, okay, yeah, so it should be the same.
Yeah,
that's my understanding.
should be.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was no question that you were going to bring Ruby with you to Malaysia.
No question.
But was that difficult to sort out?
There's a lot of organization. There's a lot of paperwork. We started the process probably last July when we were here visiting, and we got in touch with. We kind of Googled pet relocators to come, for moving a pet here, and we spoke to a lady called Bev who lives in Kuala Lumpur, and she actually brings horses, strange enough. She arranges for horses to come to Malaysia, but she also does for dogs too. So we got in touch with her, and she told us kind of briefly what is needed. And then she put us in touch with a pet relocator in California.
Okay.
And that company is called Transcontinental Pet Movers in Redwood City, California. And then, they arrange the paperwork. You have to get rabies vaccinations and make sure that the dog is all vaccinated and fit to travel. It is expensive. It is not cheap. But, it's worth it when you want your little pooch.
Of course. Now, I was going to ask you that later, but since you brought it up, would you mind sharing approximately what it costs?
Well, it's more than a business class flight. So it's probably in the region of $5,000 US dollars, something like that. Yeah. It's expensive.
He really loves you, Ruby.
Yeah, she's worth it. Aren't you, Ruby? Huh?
Yeah, she says, I'm worth it. You did your research and didn't have a particularly hard time finding a company that you trusted to do it.
And he was very good. The guy in California was very good. I was in contact with him a lot through either email or phone call, and he kind of told me how I need to go about things. So I had to contact the vet and all the paperwork that needed to be completed. There's a lot of paperwork on the Malaysian side for immigration. Malaysian immigration is actually very dog friendly, and they encourage people to, if they're moving here to Malaysia and they have animals, they do encourage people to bring their pets with them.
That's good. Is there a quarantine?
There is a quarantine. It's a short quarantine, and it's only for 7 days.
Wow.
Now that's from the US. My understanding is if you were bringing a dog from the UK, there is no quarantine required.
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah. But from the US, there is a quarantine needed, and it's for 7 days. So, you know, she was well looked after in the quarantine place.
Okay, can you explain a little bit more about the actual process from when you got Ruby ready to go and put on the plane?
Okay, so we got the final certificate from our local animal hospital in LA, and then the guy drove down from Redwood City all the way, and he came and picked Ruby up at the house. It was all kind of quick, but we put Ruby in the car in a little travel carrier, and then
did you say goodbye there?
We said goodbye right there at the house. So it was kind of quick and a little traumatic.
Yes, I imagine.
And quite upsetting, emotional, but he took good care of her. He drove her to LAX, that's the airport in LA. He took her to the Singapore check-in, and he handed Ruby over to Singapore Airlines. And he took videos when he handed Ruby over to the staff at Singapore Airlines. He took videos of how she was being taken care of.
Only the finest airline for Ruby.
Absolutely, to Singapore. So then she flew from LA to Singapore, which is a long, long flight, 15 hours. She landed in Singapore. She was there for a long layover in Singapore, I think like 8 hours, and then she was on another plane to Kuala Lumpur.
Did they give them tranquilizers?
No tranquilizers. They don't advise tranquilizer just in case the dog becomes kind of ill or anything like that. They don't want to know if it's tranquilizer or if the dog is ill.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
How has Ruby adjusted to Malaysia? Does she like it? Does she like the climate okay?
It took her a little while to adjust to the climate, and the smells. I think the smells are all different, so she was kind of very reticent about going out for walks for the first 10 days, I would say. She would walk behind me when I was walking with her, whereas normally she was walking up in front on a leash, you know. But over the time, she's improved and she enjoys going out for walks now. It was very funny because when she first arrived, normally she would bark at cats when she would see them on the street, but here she was wagging her tail at the cats. So I don't know if the cats smell differently here.
Well, I think they might, and they're actually more friendly, I think. So, could you explain a little more about the quarantine here in Malaysia?
So like I said, the quarantine is for 7 days. And they are kept in, it is a government facility, but the Bev and her people over here actually look after the dogs. So they go and feed them, they go and take them for a walk, and they walk them outside in a secure area on a leash with the grass and all that kind of stuff. And they can play out there, and they throw the ball. We did get daily video reports of how Ruby was doing. So it was nice to see her on a daily basis that she was doing okay. I mean, she did look, I'm not going to gloss over it, she did look a little kind of worried as to where she was.
Stressed, yeah.
A little stressed, and probably she was missing me. But she did okay. For a couple of days, she didn't eat a lot in the quarantine, but that's because she's a very nervous dog. So Bev and her team, they did follow up with a vet, who checked Ruby out and actually hand fed her. And then from then on, she began to eat. So, after 7 days, we were here in Malaysia, and they brought her from the quarantine place right to the house.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, can you tell me a little bit more about Ruby? How old is she, and what kind of breed is she?
So Ruby is...
Hold her up more.
Ruby is a rescue dog. We got her from
a rescue
place in LA, and 7 years ago. So she was 6 months old, and she's the beautifulest, most perfect little dog in the
Is
world.
she part Yorkie?
She's a Yorkie Maltese mix. That's what we
Okay.
understand. On the vet forms, it says Yorkshire Terrier mix. So she's withstood the travel okay, and she has adjusted to living here. We take her out for walks in the morning when it's not too hot, around about 8 o'clock in the morning. Then again, late afternoon at 5, and then just before bedtime
Okay.
when it's a lot cooler.
Yes. Well, let me ask you this. I suspect I know the answer, but how do you find the veterinary care here in Malaysia?
Perfect, excellent, wonderful. We've actually found a good vet. I don't remember the name of the area, but friends recommended the vet to us, and we took her there. And the facility is just like it was in California.
Wow.
Yeah, very
Yes,
much.
I found that too.
But a fraction of the price.
Fraction of the price.
Fraction of the price.
I have to say, though, in all fairness, I mean, I have Earl Grey take to the vet, and although the prices are very, very inexpensive for us, for Malaysians, it's really not that cheap.
Yes, I think that's my understanding. Malaysians do find it a little bit on the expensive side.
I had a cat once who was having some problems with his brain, and I actually had a MRI done on the cat,
Oh, yeah.
and it cost $2,000.
Yes, absolutely.
And it ended up being hopeless, and I had to put him to sleep that same day. So it was
Oh,
just
my
like
God.
totally wasted money.
Wasted
But you
money.
just want to do everything you can for your pet. Give me an example of the cost in California compared to the cost here for veterinary.
Oh, okay. So when I needed a travel certificate to confirm that Ruby was fit to travel before she left California, and just the fee for the vet to write the certificate was $700.
Oh my God.
So like I said, I took Ruby to the vet last week for some blood work. She's actually having her teeth cleaned tomorrow, which is going to be another story. But so she had the blood work, and we saw the vet. She had the blood work, and I also bought some dog food there, and that was like $70.
That's amazing. Yeah, so a tenth of what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
pretty much what I've experienced too.
Yeah.
I really want to thank you for talking to me today and sharing Ruby with us and my viewers who are going to love her to death. And I'm going to put more pictures and video of Ruby so that you can see what a really cute dog she is. But Lee, thank you so much for doing this with
You're
me.
welcome.
I appreciate it
You're
so
welcome.
much.
You're welcome. I hope people find it informative. And if you're going to move to Malaysia and you have animals, bring them over because they will be welcome here.
Absolutely. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks for joining us today. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And hit the notification bell too. That way you won't miss any of my videos. But that's all we have for today. I'm going to have some end credits with some pictures of Ruby though, so stay tuned for that. Talk to you later. Bye.
Ruby! Ruby! Ruby!